Imagine no humans in the world. The streets are empty, no traffic, no voices, no airplanes in the sky. At first, it might feel like paradise, but within hours, something strange would begin to happen. The machines that keep our civilization alive would start shutting down, and slowly the world we built would begin to disappear. So, what would actually happen to Earth if every human suddenly vanished? For the first few hours, the world would look almost normal. Cars would still be sitting in driveways, lights would still be on, computers would still be running, and in some places, trains would still be moving. But our civilization depends on something humans constantly maintain: electricity. Power stations don't run forever without people. As the hours pass, power grids would begin to fail. Some areas might stay powered for a while. Others would go dark much faster. Within days, most of the world's power grid would eventually shut down, and that would change almost everything. Refrigerators would stop working, water pumps would stop, communication system would begin to fail, skyscrapers would become silent, and underground subway system could slowly fill with water as pumps stopped removing it. But something else would happen that you probably wouldn't expect. The animals would notice that we're gone. For thousands of years, humans have pushed wildlife away from our cities, but without us, those boundaries would disappear. Pets trapped inside homes would face a terrible struggle. And wild animals would have a completely different future. Foxes could move through empty streets. Deer could wander into cities. Birds would nest on abandoned buildings. And animals that once avoided humans would slowly learn that the most dangerous creature on earth was no longer around. Grass would push through cracks in the pavement. Weeds would grow between buildings. Without gardeners, parks would become wild. Then, over the years, trees would begin growing through abandoned streets. Rain would slowly damage roads and buildings. And rust would eat through metal. And without humans repairing roofs and windows and bridges and pipes, the water would become one of the greatest enemies of our cities. Now, imagine coming back 100 years later. New York would still be recognizable in places, but it would no longer look like the city we know today. Trees would cover streets, buildings would begin collapsing, bridges would weaken. However, here is the good news. There are things that will remain standing, like concrete buildings even when covered with trees and weeds, and also highways, tunnels, and sewage networks. In short, after 100 years, the earth will not have abandoned us yet. Instead, it will look like a massive city just abandoned by its people, with forests and grass starting to break through streets, while the skeletal structures of civilization stand firm, waiting thousands of years to completely decompose. 1,000 years would change the planet even more. Most modern buildings would be gone or heavily damaged. Forests would cover places that were once highways. Rivers would change their paths. Wildlife would spread into territories we once controlled. and human civilization would become increasingly difficult to recognize. Imagine standing in the middle of what was once a massive modern city and seeing nothing but trees, no cars, no advertisement, no skyscrapers, just nature. It would almost look as if humanity had never existed. Thanks for watching.